All right, so next up for Killer Croc Gator Week, we've got Alligator. I know I said I wasn't going to do this movie, but I figured out something. So on YouTube, and this is true of Alligator 1 and 2, The Mutation, there is a good quality version in the video and a good audio quality version, but the opposite of both there. So one has good audio and shitty video, and one has good video and shitty audio. And so what did I do after thinking about it for a couple days? I wasn't like sitting there thinking the entire time, how can I watch Alligator? It just was like, oh, bummer, I guess I can't watch these things, because the good quality video one, which is the only one I would have watched, it was in a different language. It wasn't even like it was watchable. So what did I do? I took my phone and I put on the shitty quality video one with the good audio, and I synced it with the good video up on my screen and muted the television. And that's how I watched Alligator 1 and 2. These are the lengths I go to review these lesser known movies for you guys. So yeah, I'm a hero, right? All right, so we have an alligator wrestler here, and the funny thing is we have this title card where this guy says alligator as it pops up on the screen. I'm guessing that's the announcer for the Gator wrestler guy. But it's so funny because when it starts, I thought this movie was going to be so dumb after that, because it was like, came up on the screen, it was like, alligator. I was like, did the guy just narrate the title card? Oh, it would have been great though if they just kept going with it. Like, starring Robert Foster. Like a trailer. Like a trailer. That'd be great. That's what it felt like. It felt like those old school trailers where they just kept showing the title card and then the guy said the name, but it was like in the movie. I'd never seen that shit before. But I guess it's the Alligator Wrangler's little commentator there, but it comes just with the name. It's really funny. All right, so the alligator wrestler is attacked. Some of the people in the audience thinks it's just part of the show. The little girl knows better, because we have a brilliant little girl who understands the complexities of the Gator verse. Now, she seems to be pretty educated in gators, and then she goes home and her dad flushes her little gator down the toilet. And so I was really confused on whether or not this was supposed to be the girl grown up later, because this is like flash forward into the future 15 years, 10 years, I don't know, whatever, but I was confused on that. And at the end of the movie, I was looking through the credits like, am I seeing that correctly? And it was like, yeah, you had the main character's name, and then below the credits you had the young version of her. And I was like, that was supposed to be her. Oh, wow, okay. This movie was a lot of fun. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit, I have to say. When I was watching it, I was like, wow, this is actually a really good time. I'm really having fun with this one. But that doesn't mean it's not going to come without its fun little critiques here. My biggest being this Alligator Expert girl. And I guess they're getting at that her gator that was flushed down the toilet ended up in the sewer and then turned into this. Okay, I get that. But what purpose does she really serve in this movie, outside of being the love interest? Never in this movie do I feel like her knowledge of gators, her knowledge of science in general, helps at all. I mean, it's just, it goes down to like straight up brute force. The fact that she needed to have an origin story, that she needed to be this science expert when they could have just, looked in a book for 4 seconds to find out the teeniest bit of information they garnished from her. It's just ridiculous to me. It's completely pointless. Anytime where there's one of these kinds of movies where they have the scientist guy, they have the scientist girl, they have the expert, they use their expertise to defeat it. They use their expertise to draw them out, whatever. This doesn't happen here. There's a little bit, teeny bits, like sound will attract them or something like that. just semi things. But like later into the movie, when they're really getting into the thick of it, it's just like he's gonna leave her behind and he's just gonna go grab some fucking dynamite and blow the thing up. You really need her to be an expert on that? Really? Like, it just was so funny to me watching it. I just kept waiting for her to have a purpose. And it just never did. I mean, you could have been any random girl in the opening. They flush her fucking her alligator down the toilet. And gets into the sewer and it gets bigger. I mean, and then he has a love interest who comes and saves him, and she could be whoever. It just seemed like a way, I don't know. It was a stretch for all of that to be together. And the fact that like she doesn't even know that it was her alligator growing up, or was it? Right, it was, because at the end of the movie we see it hit the sewer, but that's a flashback to try to let us know like, oh, it was her gator. Okay, I guess. I don't, it doesn't ever have any connection. It's not like it has like a blue stripe down its back and it's like this rare thing and she sees it and she's like, oh, that's my gator as a kid. Like there's no moment like that. It's just for the audience to be like, oh, that was her gator, but it doesn't matter to her character. So it's like there's no reason for any of it for her. I don't get it. I will say this though. I think you watch something like Halloween 3 and you've got Dr. Chalice and he meets little Miss Grimbridge there, and you're thinking, would this girl really be into this guy? And maybe, I mean, because Tom Atkins is charismatic, and you might think like he's too old for her, that he's not all that attractive or whatever. I feel like, and there's plenty of other movies where you could use that example and be like, no, absolutely not. This is extremely forced. And I felt like that at first because Robert Foster was considerably older than her. And I was like, really? And I do feel like it is forced in the beginning. It's just this like doe in the headlights, like, just fawning after the brutish detective. And it's like the little doe-eyed vixen, and it's just like, this is just here purely for romantic involvement, because every movie needs that, right? But as the movie went on, I started to get more of that Halloween 3 feeling, where I was like, okay, I could see this, because Robert Foster's character in this movie is so charismatic. He is so likable. He's a cool guy. And so I get it, but it does feel forced when she just straight meets him and he's just like being in detective mode. I don't get that. But hey, I mean, I've been attracted to people who all my friends are like, you're into her? And I'm not going to say he's a bad looking man. He's not a bad looking man. It's just, there's nothing to sell me on that she's like, oh my God, who's this guy? It would be like if he won her over with his charm. But he has some pretty smooth moves in this. So he has her over later in the movie, and they're sitting there on the couch, and they're about to go to dinner. And he uses some lines. Holy shit, man. Some interesting stuff here. So he's like, I mean, I'd like to go to dinner with you, but honestly, I'll just be sitting there the whole time wondering if you're going to come home and sleep with me, and that'll speed up my metabolic rate. And she's like, shh, and she just kisses him, and it's like, this dude wants to know and be confirmed, like, I'm getting laid if I take you out to dinner, right? Like, I need to know that up front, otherwise I'm not going to be able to like digest my food correctly, or I'm not going to be able to properly consume my food, because I'm just going to be thinking about fucking you. So I need a guarantee here that if I'm taking you out to dinner, that you are going to have sex with me. And so what does she do? She kisses him and then screws him, and then they go to dinner. And what does he do when he's at dinner? He treats her like shit. He treats her like such shit that she gets up and leaves the table and leaves the restaurant. And he has to come back later in the film to apologize to her for being a dick. Okay, so let that be a lesson to you girls. Make the guy wait. make him buy you dinner at least first. Because if you screw him before dinner, then he's going to treat you like shit at dinner. But if you go to dinner with him, he's going to be like, "Oh, you're the best, and here, let me get you more." No, none of this is anything you should be taking any advice on. All right. Moving on. So we have none of that. I write down notes sometimes, and then I think while I'm reading them here, because I don't even know what the hell I'm going to say next. I forgot half of this shit. But I write down stuff, and I'm like, later in the movie, I'm like, that doesn't make any difference. Like, that doesn't play into the story at all. They're like clues that I write down, and I'm like, no, that's nothing. All right, so you got this pet store owner, which I was going to research who he was because I knew him from something, and I'm really upset with myself that I didn't, because I know him, and it's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. I don't know. But anyway, he's a pet shop owner, and he is the first person that you want so badly to die, along with the scientist, which doesn't, which is a shame. But this pet shop owner, so he's a pet shop owner. He runs a business for animals. And so you think he would actually care about animals. But no, what does he do? He goes around the streets and he collects stray animals and he gives them to a scientist so that the scientist can perform experiments on these animals, and just takes the bodies. And when he comes, he brings in the new ones, takes the old ones that have all been hollowed out, and throws them down in the sewers, which is, perpetuating this issue, because the alligator is feeding on all these carcasses, because the scientist girl points out that he wouldn't be able to thrive down there because there wouldn't be a food source for him to do so. But this guy's been feeding him all of these science experiment lab animals, and there's a scene between him and the pet shop owner where he's just essentially like berating him and yelling at him that he doesn't want these big dogs anymore, these full-grown animals. He needs puppies. And he just keeps driving this home. Like, I need to murder puppies. I need you to bring me puppies for me to kill. And he just keeps going on about how he needs puppies. And it's like, they couldn't make this guy less likable. This guy is demanding to murder puppies. Jesus, John Wick better not find out where that place is. The first guy that's killed in this movie that the detective is researching, technically I guess that would be a correct word, but he's investigating, is Edward Norton. That is the name of the character. The actor is not in this. And so thank God one of the first people we get to see chomped is that pet shop owner. Oh, I wanted him dead so bad. Oh, and they even showed that when he looks over at the dogs, he's like, why aren't these dogs barking? And the freaking scientist guy is like, oh, because when they come in, we cut their larynx immediately so they can't bark. And the dog just like silently tries to bark at the guy, and it like whimpers a little bit. I haven't hated a character that much in a long time, and we don't even get a payoff on that guy. God, unreal. Jesus Christ. Another thing that's always really fascinated me is that anytime there's killings in the world, like there's a serial killer that's out there and we don't know who it is, they have multiple, sometimes hundreds, if the case is big enough, of people who call in and claim to have done it, who haven't. This happens all the time. That is fucking wild to me. Like, what compels someone to look at murders in a newspaper or on the TV or on the computer and be like, I'm going to go in the police station and tell them I did this? I think there are some people who are just mentally off and question whether or not they did it because they don't feel like they're in control of their mind and, their body, and maybe they did it and they freak out and they have an attack of some sort. They're just like, I think I might have done it. I can't remember what I did yesterday. I think I killed these people. I think those people definitely, happen from time to time, but I also think there's people who want fame. I think there's people, I don't know, of all the things to take credit for, it's weird to me that would be one of them. I don't know. So this guy comes in and he threatens that he's going to blow the place up, and there's this exchange between him, and they take him, and they find out that it's just an alarm clock. But it's a good enough, it's a good enough setup that it can actually be used as a legitimate detonator later in the movie. Sure, why not? So he actually made a legit detonator for a bomb, but just didn't put a bomb on it. Okay. Why not? And where they keep that thing in the police evidence lockup, really that is the most rinky-dink, unguarded, secure, it's a freaking security lockup. That thing ain't locked up. It's a closet with a couple shelves, and it's just like some tape. You can just tell the budget of this movie and just the lack of care in a certain area like that. Nothing's bagged. Nothing's properly tagged. Nothing. It's just sitting there, and it's like fake bomb and then dynamite. Oh my God, I rolled my eyes so hard at that. So fucking funny. But yeah, he just goes and it's just like, it's just like going to the grocery store or something. Like, I need a timer and I need a bomb and no one's going to stop me even though I was just kicked off the force. Oh, fucking Christ. There was just no one. There was no one there. No one, guarding it. Nobody checking it out. No sign-in sheet. No, have they never watched another movie where people have to get something out of police lockup? Yeah, okay. And so, of course, he goes down there and he takes his partner with him, and they're going around, they're goofing. There's this fake out scare. It's super lame. And then when they're trying to get out, there's a manhole cover. And I'm not exactly sure because he can't get through the manhole cover no matter what he does. And the alligator is right below him, and he chomps one of his partner that he brings down there with him. And then it just cuts to him waking up in the hospital. And it's like, that's a smart cut because you can't explain to me how the fuck he got out of there supposedly. Because he can't go down. And we already know that his adrenaline, everything he had, couldn't get him up out of that manhole cover. So how the fuck did he get out of there? I'd like to know. I'd like to know, writers. Come on. He's trapped, and then he just wakes up in the hospital. That is one of the dumbest things I see in movies. So I'm supposed to just fill in the blank with what exactly? Because I can't come up with anything. All of a sudden, maybe there's a car parked on top of there. We get that later in the movie, and maybe the car parked, drove away, but why did he pass out after that? Just from the stress of it, and then he woke up in the hospital? I guess that's possible, but really? He's already lost a partner. He's already went through so much. I don't know. Yeah, he saw something down there that he would think was like a monster of sorts, so I don't know. I got nothing. It's trickery. It's fucking trickery is what it is. So then this journalist, no one of course believes him. So this journalist goes down there and because every movie wants to borrow from Jaws, which is fine. He goes down there to investigate. He thinks it's bullshit, and the alligator attacks him. So he takes a bunch of snapshots of the gator. And these are much better pictures than the one in Jaws because the ones in Jaws, no one believes. And they get these, and there is no fucking discrediting this at all. It's an alligator. It's right there. It's clear as day. And so they send this whole military group in there, and they flush every tunnel, and they're banging on things. They never do, to my knowledge. I didn't see any way that they explained how that gator, I guess he was just hiding in the water and was too smart to be drawn out by these guys clanging and clapping and whatever. I'm not sure why. He's smart. He's just, he's better, more advanced. But then when they come out, he's, they're all like in belief of him and then when they come out and they're like, we didn't find anything, and everyone laughs and they're like, haha, I guess you're wrong. And it's like, we still have the picture evidence. Like, there's definitely a gator. It killed this guy. I mean, is there really any, doubt about this? And it's like, yes, there is. You're off the force. And we're done with you, and that's that. And then the fucking alligator breaks out of the sewer, straight up comes through the concrete. So it's it hides from the military. I guess it now knows it's exposed and it needs to get out of there. So instead of just like, I don't know, escaping through one of the open areas that the sewer has, which it crawls back through later in the movie, it decides to bring itself up on top of a baseball game, like out in the streets, and it smashes up. And one of the kids playing baseball is wearing a straight up Freddy Krueger sweater, but this is before Nightmare on Elm Street, so little origin story there. Probably would make more sense than the origin story in this movie. But he breaks up through the thing, which is a great effect. I really like the gator effects. I really like the way the gator looks. I like the suit. I like all that stuff. I think it's pretty badass. So I was pretty impressed with all the gator stuff in the movie. And yeah, I mean, it's a rubber suit, but it's kind of reminiscent of a Godzilla, like the original Godzilla, Gorhira, or whatever. Yeah, I dug it. And then, yeah, as I said, it just looks great walking around. And then they bring in the big game hunter, of course, like they do in Jurassic Park 2, Lost World Jurassic Park 2. And he does fuck all. He goes and hires some guys to go out there with him and flirts with every girl he sees and then just gets eaten. He doesn't really do anything. He's just kind of pointless. And he's like trying to be sexy guy, and it's not working at all. I do like that there's like a group of people that are out there with all the spectators, and they're trying to sell like gator merch to all the people, and that's so something people would do. So I like that they just kind of threw that stuff in. No, yeah, it's a genetic mutation, of course. And I already made fun of all this shit. I already talked about all of that. And oh man, there's a really fucked up scene in this movie where a kid is blindfolded by his brothers or somebody, and he's pushed off of the diving board into his pool. But they don't realize that there's a gator in there, and they see it like right as they're pushing him in the water. It's going to be a prank. And this is a kid. I mean, this is like an 8 to 10-year-old kid, and they push him in the water, and you think like, oh, it's just a kid. He'll be all right. Somehow they'll get him out. Boom, just chomped. Just completely fucking mauled, chomped, dead. Blood just through the pool. And I was like, oh man, that was brutal. Those kids were fucked for life. Imagine what those kids' lives were like after that. You pushed your brother or your best friend or whoever, this little kid, blindfolded into the mouth of a gator as he screamed and you ran in the house. PTSD for life. Speaking of PTSD, our cop here suffers from that because he's having nightmares of his partner for 2 seconds who got chomped under him. And I already talked about all that. I like how he keeps getting upset about his male pattern baldness, which I don't know if that was written into the script or they just threw it in there because Robert Foster is actually starting to go bald there. I don't know. And he after he pisses off the girl, he comes back to her mom's house and apologizes to not only her but her mom as well. Smart move there, guy. So let that be a lesson. And then a boat of cops go out with machine guns to try to kill this thing in the water. And of course they hit it with their boat, which sends the boat flying up onto the shoreline. And inside, for some unknown reason, I guess maybe one of them fell in there and it was the pin had fallen out. Maybe I missed that, but yeah, somehow the grenades all explode and kill every one of them. And then one of the other guys tries to swim onto the boat and gets his legs bit off. Bitten off. Chewed off, chomped off, fucking severed. And then he attacks a wedding, which is great because this is where the tail whipping comes in. and he is just throwing people, just tossing them like rag dolls. One whip, two whips. I like that they didn't just focus on the front half of the eating machine, but they also had the back half and a monstrous tail that was literally just picking dudes up and chicks up and throwing them 10, 20 feet across birthday cakes, into awnings, into freaking pools, into everything. He was just smashing people, chomping on one side and, whipping with the other. Some freaking gator dance that he was. He came there to the wedding to show off his new moves. It's called the Chomp Whip. And then he goes and he crushes this car. There's two people inside. He whips the freaking the glass, the windshield, and which actually just happened to me yesterday. A freaking rock hit my window. Asshole. Sucks. I forgot about that. I have a cracked windshield out there right now. Now I gotta fucking focus on that. Damn. This is why I go to movies. Escapism. I only gotta deal with shit like that. But after this review, I'm gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, smashes this car, smashes it, and there's just a guy, and he's going down. You think somebody's gonna save him, somebody's gonna draw him away. Nope, old guy crushed to death under the weight of the metal and the gator outside. Good stuff, man. And then the methane, of course, comes back. They address it earlier in the movie, and you're like, that's how they're gonna kill him. And so they put the bomb down there, and they have this tense moment where he's trying to get up the manhole cover, and there's an old lady parked on it, and the scientist, who I guess this is her purpose in the movie, is to run over and push an old woman out of the way and drive the car backwards. Good thing she went to Harvard for that. And he gets out of there, and boom, the whole freaking town erupts, and manhole covers, which weigh usually about like 250 pounds, are jettisoned into the air and probably came down and killed, probably landed in a preschool class and killed like 15. But he saved the day, okay? Killed the alligator down there, blew him up. And I love how the alligator actually explodes from the inside. I'm not sure why it explodes like this, but it's a cool effect in the movie. I don't really see the reasoning. It would just have been obliterated by the blast as opposed to blowing up from the inside. But pretty funny stuff. All good stuff. Wait. No, that's in the... I'm two movies now. No, it's the second one. Yeah, the second one... Yeah, the second one is the one where he swallows the dynamite. The first one, he's just sitting there. Okay. No, I was like, wait, isn't the dynamite inside of him? Am I fucking that up? No. I watched these back to back, so no. The second one is the one where he swallows it. So, anyway, I have nowhere near as much to say about Alligator 2, The Mutation, so that one won't be anywhere near as long. Not sure... He needs to wear a gas mask down there, but I guess this mutated gator, just doesn't need oxygen. That's one of its many perks it has of being a mutated alligator. So anyways, let's move on.